Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Entertainment Roadmap. Today we are here with Arta Negahban. So excited to speak with her all about Under the Bridge and all about her acting experience. How are you doing today, Arta?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. How are you guys?
Good, thank you. We're so excited to have you. We love the show Under the Bridge. We're huge
Yeah.
fans. So, Noah, if you want to dive right in.
Yeah, just to begin, how did you get started in acting?
So I started in the dance world when I was like 3, and I trained there like professionally for a while in our at home like studio program. And then when I was about 9, I did my first theater production and kind of just fell in love with that side of things, acting, dancing, singing. And once I scored a few roles of like theater shows, I decided to kind of, or my mom actually, she started searching and searching for like an agent, and luckily I was able to get one in Vancouver. And then just started getting some auditions for shows. I worked on a couple short films and some commercials, and that's kind of when I really knew like I love it so much and I wanted to continue. Yeah.
That's
That's so
awesome.
cool. Do you remember what your first role was?
Yes. Well, in grade 4, we did like those like lunchbox theater, that's what they called them, like productions. And I was Wendy in Peter Pan. But then my first like show was Fiddler on the Roof, which was so cool. Like I will never forget that show. It was super fun to be a part of.
That's so cool. I love theater productions.
So much fun.
So exciting. And Under the Bridge, how did you become involved with it? And what was that audition process like?
Totally. So I just got it was like another self-tape because after all the COVID stuff, so much more self-tapes kind of started happening. And yeah, I got a request and I filmed the 2 scenes. Originally, my character was only supposed to be in like 2 episodes, but they write as they went along. Um, and so yeah, I submitted that and then they asked me to submit a couple more takes. So I was like, OMG, okay. So I sent those in. And then like I want to say 2 weeks later, I kind of forgot about it. My agent called me, and this was the first like TV show role that I had booked. So, and my best friend was sitting right beside me, so we were both like, "Oh my gosh, like yeah." But yeah, the
Mm.
process was very, very simple and like yeah, no stress or anything, which was nice. It was all self-tapes, so that was super cool.
Was that your first self-tape experience, or had you been doing self-tapes prior to that?
Yeah, so self-tapes like really started a lot during I want to say 2020. So I got very comfortable, and still now most auditions are self-tapes just because it's easier. Like for casting directors and directors who are like in the States and if you're from Canada. Um but yeah, so I had been kind of submitting self-tapes a lot more often around that time too. So it was another one of those things where I was like, okay, I'll submit it, and then try not to think about it too much because that can get really stressful.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Under the Bridge is obviously a very serious TV show, and all the characters that you're all portraying they're young, but their experience in life is very different to a lot of typical, teenagers of that age. So how did you prepare for Under the Bridge, and did you do anything to get in character?
hmm so once I booked the role, I got the book Under the Bridge by Rebecca Godfrey, of course. And I started reading that, and I started kind of going online and searching for as much information I could get on the case because there is quite a bit out there. And I just wanted to make sure I kind of had the perspective, like as much perspective from the children as I could, but also from just the different characters, because in the show we do see like points of view from a lot of different people. And I kind of wanted to like get a feel of that before entering the project. Yeah. And also like all the children were heavily involved in Rena's assault, and there's like no justifying any of that, of course, but also kind of taking a step back and like having empathy for these kids and realizing like what they have gone through and like what they've been exposed to have this feel like a new normal, or not a new normal, but just like a normal. And like, I don't know, kind of this wasn't the first time they went out and like beat up somebody and were intoxicated. A lot of the interviews, they talk about how they were very drunk, and that obviously played a part in it. Of course, it's again like no justifying what they did, you know. Um, but yeah, I kind of had to just realize that these preteens, even like teens, very young children, also didn't really know what they were doing. And like it is chilling and like terrifying and makes you feel for them and just like, yeah, the environments they had to see and grow up in. So kind of getting more familiar with that. And also it was in like rural Victoria and I grew up in Vancouver. So kind of like also knowing how close it was and so many people who I know and when I talked about Under the Bridge like had connections to it, like maybe far away connections, but how like such a small world it is that like this it affects many, many people. So just like knowing, you know, the impact it also was going to have was super important. I just wanted to make sure, you know, like we really or I really knew Rena's story like fully from all perspectives. Yeah, and that kind of helped me fully get into character.
Definitely. And I guess finding a place to find empathy for these types of characters must be pretty difficult. But I guess that really is the only way that you can genuinely portray one of these characters.
Yeah, totally. And also like, well, because they are teens, it was a little bit like it kind of helped. And Maya DaCosta, who plays Maya in the show as well, her and I were in like all scenes together, which was also a big help because we could talk things through together constantly and like just like when you like put in your own input and like like how you're feeling about the situation, it really translates and can help with like what the character is feeling also. My kitten is sitting on my desk. I need to show you. But yeah, so like having her by my side also and like just us like helping each other out was yeah, a lot. It just made the process a lot better because it was a very heavy, it is a very heavy and dark topic.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
really great to hear. Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of going off of that, even though it was such a heavy and dark topic, the chemistry among the cast is very believable. Did you do anything to help with that, or was it kind of just natural from the start?
Yeah, it was super natural. So our first day working on the show, Maya and I was in a like the production office and we had a rehearsal. So we got to meet the girls there and not like on set, which is a kind of a little bit more stressful environment, though like the crew and the whole cast made it's super comfortable and they were all very sweet. But yeah, like it was kind of immediate. I don't know about you guys, but whenever it's like a bunch of like girls and stuff, you know, you guys kind of all get along. And so from then we hung out a couple times. We show them around Vancouver a little bit, which was super fun. But no, they were all super sweet and welcoming. Like it was genuinely just like instant connection, which also just help the filming so much, like so much more because it's again, yeah, such a heavy topic. I think having those people who you genuinely can trust and like you know they're supporting you really allows you to like explore fully like your scenes and your characters. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely lifelong friends are made.
Yes, for
That's
sure.
sweet. Love that.
Yeah.
So you and Maya are both from Vancouver?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
was this your first time meeting each other?
So that's funny. Like she's also big into the dance world, killing it right now. And her and I like kind of always knew of each other and like had a lot of mutuals. And we like it was funny once we realized we were working on it together. We were like, oh my God, we've been wanting to work together forever. Like this is crazy. So like we had such a blast. Yeah.
That's so fun. That's kind of like a full circle moment for both of you.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
like we went to like dance studios not so far from each other. Like I took drop-ins at her studios. I think she probably took some classes at mine. And so like the crossover, it was always like right next to each other. So it was really cool to actually be able to work on something together.
Yeah. And do you have any behind the scenes stories or memorable moments from Under the Bridge that you can share?
Yes, actually, there's a couple, but one of my favorites is we were filming in Mission, BC, and there was like bunch of farmlands everywhere, and we were like our resting spot was a pub that was like right next to a farm, and it was like we were waiting for a turnaround or something to go back onto set, and then we just all kind of went outside to just take in the fresh air and how beautiful like British Columbia is very, very beautiful. And then like the sun was setting and we just see this like huge patch of grass, and all the children, it was so funny, it was like they just everybody went out and started running like out of nowhere. Kind of everybody just knew that's what we have to do right now. Like it's our break. We got to run in these farm fields now that we have a chance. And then like the AD came out and everybody's laughing at us, like running through the grass. Um, but many moments just like that, or like we'd break out into song on set. Yeah, fun things like that.
Oh, that's so much fun. I love that. Like also just that there's an environment that allows young people to just be young people and it doesn't have to be so serious all the time,
Oh
especially when the topic is very heavy.
Yeah, totally. I mean, they did like such a good job creating that kind of environment and like keeping us very comfortable and making sure that we were okay. People constantly checking in. Yeah, it was a super cool like first set, like real set experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you were able to have that experience because it seems like it really benefited you as an actor as well, that everyone like it just seems like it was such a great experience.
Yes.
And kind of going into the show, do you relate to Layla in any way? And are there any similarities or big differences between the two of you?
It's funny because like everybody on set after like hair and makeup and people and like my friends and stuff, they'd be like, you're not like Layla. But also I feel like, I like to think I'm kind. And I think that Layla's also like is very kind. Like I just think that there's so many different sides to everyone, and like when you see them in juvie and in court, like you can really like tell like they know something happened, like this was a very normal thing for them until it wasn't, until that one thing happened for them to actually clue in and realize like, oh, this isn't normal. um and yeah, so I don't know. I think I do relate to Layla in some ways, that being like when I was her age, I also understand how like these things can like the CMC or just like having friends in school like feels like such a big thing, and that's like all you can see at that age, until you experience things, or and just until like you grow up and realize, wow, okay, that's not it, that wasn't like the end of the world. um yeah, and also just how she kind of expresses herself through her makeup, through her like what she wears and all her rings and stuff. I totally relate to that. I think many people could. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that must make the character a little bit easier to kind of come into when you have a little bit of similarities, but it seems like you were able to make her your own character as well and really separate yourself from her.
Yeah, totally. I think that's super important. Yeah, I auditioned with purple hair and they kept the purple hair for Layla, which was also, I think that kind of, I don't know if it helped in a way, but it definitely like, yeah, it helped in a way. But it's kind of hard just because, um, you want to like make sure that you're showing these children like authentically, but and not like offending anybody, but at the same time like showing the truth. Yeah, kind of navigating all of that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say maybe like having the purple hair helps, maybe in the sense that when you take it out, it's like you're stripping away the character and you don't have to be her anymore.
That's true, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't think of it
Yeah.
like
Yes.
that.
So do you have any rituals that you do before filming a scene?
Mm. I like to just take time to be calm and still and present. I think that's like the biggest thing, is getting yourself really into the moment, especially like on set. It can be super chaotic. There's so many people doing so many things to make sure the shot is exactly what they want. And yeah, like just being able to find a tiny little space where you can stand and take a couple of big deep breaths and just like make sure you're ready. I think that was the biggest thing for me. Also, it helped a lot being surrounded by so many like incredible and like talented people. I just think like getting into that mindset was a lot easier when you're like surrounded by it, you know? Um, yeah, so that definitely helped a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I think being present is like a really good piece of advice.
Mhm.
100%. Yeah. And what's something that you learned while filming Under the Bridge that you'll take with you on your next projects?
Um, so as I had said, this was like my first real set experience. So I feel like just the way that the cast and crew treated us and getting to see how set environment truly works is something that I like learned so much from and will definitely take away to other projects and like just like the standard that they had kind of set. Yeah, like just from like everyone from the crew also was so sweet and like you could ask any question and they'd have an answer for you and like they were like everybody was constantly checking up on you when they saw you, like if you saw hair and makeup randomly, like, oh, are you okay, do you need anything, like all of that kind of stuff. I think just taught me a lot about what to expect and you know yeah, and to always like have a voice for yourself, like don't feel like you need to be like shy or if you're feeling like put down or like left to the side, like always, to speak up. I never ever felt like that on set. So I think like knowing that that wasn't like that's not a very normal thing or just not something to accept is super important. Yeah, so I'll totally
Yeah.
bring that to other projects as well.
It's so important to have that standard because the set can make or break everything. And if you're not treated well, or that can really put a damper on your experience. So it's really
Yeah.
nice that you had something to set that high standard for you.
Totally. I think also like working or learning more about film production right now, it it really like stresses, like how important just like everybody on set, the crew, they have so much stuff to worry about, and like actors and everybody who's working in the show as well is super, super important. But the fact that they like, have take the time out to make sure that you're okay also is super impressive and like, yeah, just like a different standard. So getting to actually see that and be a part of it for 7 months, crazy amount of time was super beneficial.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
100%.
I also think it's really good that your first experience was such a positive one because then if anything doesn't live up to that in the future, you'll know what it should be like. And it won't be like, oh, maybe it's always bad. Well, you'll know that it can be really good.
Exactly. No, that's
Yeah.
exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I just did 3 months on a film shoot. I interned in the AD department, and like
Ooh.
I was surrounded by so many amazing people there, and everyone was like, "It's never gonna be like this good again." And I was like, "Well, I know that it can be."
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, like some of the stories you hear, so
Hmm.
yeah, it's good to
Yeah.
be have those like positive experience with really amazing people
Hmm.
that like that's what fuels the love for it and like wants you to keep
Yes,
going. Yeah.
definitely. So you've also said that you performed in stage productions. So what's it like filming a TV show after having done so many stage performances? Is it similar or very different?
Um, it's super similar in some ways because at the end of the day, everybody's performing. And for me, the biggest thing is like being around people who love the same things as you, is like what I don't know, that's just what makes me want to be there, makes me want to do what we're doing. So that's very similar, of course, like across the board. But it's very different in the way of like, you're not it theater almost feels hands-on in a way, like you're really a part of it, you're immersed in it. And not to say that film and TV isn't like that either, because when you're in it, you're in it. Like when you're in the scene, you're fully in it because you're in that setting. Of course, though, there is a camera in your face. I think that's like the biggest difference is that for film and TV, you really have to just like be present. And for theater, it's the same way, but I think it's a lot, I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to be like, it's more fun because in some ways it totally is like you're just having fun with a bunch of people on stage, dancing, acting, singing. And I really do miss that world a lot. But then there's other things with film and TV that I find so like interesting and I get lost in it. Like I could stare at the cameraman forever, like framing a shot and just being like, wow, you know? So yeah, I think
Yeah.
both sides they're very similar, but also yeah, very different in many ways.
Also, I guess when you're filming, you can do multiple takes and you can try the scene like so many different ways. But
Mhm.
in a theater performance, you have all the rehearsals. But then once you're on stage doing the show, it's the one option to get it
Yeah,
the way that you
exactly.
want.
You're adapting to everything that's kind of going on. Yeah, which I think is super cool because then, you know, you have different performances every time, but like I don't know, I think also with like theater, you the connections you make are also kind of different in a way just because again, when you're really immersed in it and like go for like 2 hours on a show with one intermission, like you get really close with these people and very connected. And kind of similarly to film and TV, like you kind of you wait around a lot while the crew's setting up and turning around and making sure everything's in its right place. So and in those moments, you're like having such big long conversations about the most random topics with the cast, the crew. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, what is one thing that you wish you knew about the industry when you were first starting out?
Hmm. That I would miss so much school, but also that
Oops.
was partially my fault. Um, yeah, that's like, oh, honestly, that's one of the biggest things is just like the amount of time it takes, and I love that though. Like I would prefer to be there all the time, 24/7, you know? But yeah, it really you're really in it. Like you're fully immersed. That's why I think partial like getting into character um like is just very like once you're once the project begins and you're doing what you need to prepare, like you're in it for however long that project is going to take. And this was like, yeah, Under the Bridge took 7 months. So for 7 months, you're like, I was constantly thinking about it, and especially on shoot days, of course, about Layla, about just like different things that could have happened to her. Just like, yeah, you're always in it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Can you even imagine being in a regular school while you have to do that? My gosh, you wouldn't concentrate on anything.
No, that was like also one of the biggest parts is like these kids were like the same age as us. So like going to school and like I don't know, it was honestly it was hard like thinking about different things. They had but everybody from Under the Bridge was super prepared for that. They had some people on set just that were there to talk if you needed to talk about those kinds of things. Um which I think was super beneficial. But yeah, like especially with young kids, sometimes it's hard to know what to do with those feelings, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
definitely.
Mhm.
Well, Arda, at Entertainment Roadmap, we like to do a little bit of a hot seat. Are you interested in sitting down and doing some rapid fire questions?
Yes, of course.
Amazing. If you got an animal today, what would it be and what would you name it?
I would get a border collie mixed with what are they called? They're like Bernese mountain
The
dogs, I
Bernese
want to
Mountain
say.
Dogs.
Oh my God. I would
So
get one of those and I would name it Choopy.
oh,
So
okay,
Like
cute.
a Persian kind of nickname-ish.
you have it already. You're ready to get that puppy.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
What's your cat's name, by the way?
Oh, this one is Fifi. Wait, I'm gonna get her because she's so
Okay.
cute. You need to see her.
Oh my goodness.
Gosh.
And
Oh.
we have two of them. They're Abyssinians. Okay, she wants so cute.
Oh my
Oh.
goodness,
I had to show
adorable.
you.
I love cats.
Right?
Yeah. So what's your all-time favorite dessert?
I want to say, okay, cinnamon buns, but also carrot cake. I've been really loving carrot cake recently. I didn't used to be a carrot cake girl, but I love it now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I like carrot cake. Maybe I just haven't tried it
Yeah, you have
recently.
to try
Maybe. But
it.
cinnamon buns, that's my go-to when I go to IKEA. So
Right? The cream
yeah.
cheese icing, so good.
Yes. Yeah.
And do you have an actor or director you'd love to work with one day?
I would love to work on a Safdie Brothers film. Or also, well, also, I would love to work with Jennifer Coolidge. I think that would be the most fun thing, such a cool thing to do. Yeah,
Yeah,
She
definitely.
seems
Those are
so
great.
fun.
so fun.
Love her. She can do no wrong. Like every role she
Exactly.
does is
No,
perfect.
she kills it every time she
Yeah.
eats.
Yes. Favorite movie or TV show?
Oh, this is like such a hard question. Okay, well, since I just said Safdie Brothers, I love Good Time, of course, but I also loved the show The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I don't know if you've watched that one. Super, super good. Yeah.
Hmm.
I
I
haven't
haven't seen it. Yeah.
seen, but I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Watch it.
I think I'm gonna put it on my next to watch list.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And then, do you have a song on repeat currently?
Currently, mm, music is such like I don't know like for me, music is such a weird thing. I'm like always just shuffling through my playlist, especially now. I've been having a hard time finding like music that I want to listen to. I don't know why. It's like taking a toll on me. I'm like, what's going on? But I've been listening to a lot of Katy Perry right now. I'm obsessed again because I'm just in that 2016 era. Um,
Love
but also
that.
um, oh, what song is it? Also, Swim Good by Frank Ocean. I've been listening to again. I remember in like grade 11, I want to say that was like constantly on repeat, and now it's back to that time. I'm like repeating it all the time.
Are you a Sabrina Carpenter fan by any chance?
Okay, I wasn't, but she's so iconic. Like I'm
Right.
beginning to fall in love with her, and especially, okay, Please, Please, Please is such a good song.
Yeah.
When I listened to it, I was like, oh my God, she's so iconic.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
it. I have a younger sister, and so we have similar taste in music. So the Please 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 came out, so I went to go show it to her, and she was like,
Yeah.
"No, turn it off. I don't like it." And then like the next day, I heard it coming from the shower, and I
Yeah,
was
how
like,
could you not? Are you
"Definitely, yeah,
kidding
definitely."
me?
She probably just wanted me out of her room, but like, oh my God,
Probably.
yeah,
That's
no, you
so
can't
cute.
not like that song.
No, it's so good.
Hmm.
Well, Arta, thank you so much. This was such a great interview, and we love speaking with you, and we can't wait to see what's next for you. We're gonna have you on our radar, and we can't wait to see.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. I had such a good time speaking with you guys. Yeah, I hope to talk with you guys soon. Catch
Yes,
up. Yeah,
definitely,
this
Yes.
was
definitely.
fun. Yeah.